All right, welcome back to MMA Al Dente, the only MMA YouTube channel hosted by a guy who recently borrowed money from his mother. Now let me give you some betting advice. All right, Amanda Lemos versus Marina Rodriguez, main event of the evening. Fucking awesome fight. I didn't borrow money from my mom, by the way. But anyway, Marina Rodriguez is a minus 220 favorite. She is the best striker in the division, I want to say. Maybe not the most dangerous. Certainly not the most dangerous. In fact, she's fighting one of the most dangerous strikers in the division. But Marina Rodriguez overall is the best striker. If you told me she fought anybody in the division 25 minutes standing up, I'd say Marina walks away with the victory. The only fighter that was ever able to hang with her on the feet was Yan Xiaonan. And that was her last fight, and it was a very close fight where Yan threw down. Yan was exceptionally aggressive compared to her career, relative to her other UFC fights, certainly. And she was throwing down with Marina and going tooth and nail, having a real close battle. But I did think in the end, Marina Rodriguez won. I thought it was a just decision. Could have gone either way, but I scored it for Marina 29-28. And she's had a lot of close fights, Marina Rodriguez. Anytime she's had success against her, aside from that Yan Xiaonan fight, anytime she's had points scored against her, it's been on the ground. She's run into trouble earlier in her career, dropping big rounds to Cynthia Calvillo and Randa Marcos, which led to her having 2 draws in the UFC, which is very rare. And that's because, she dropped big rounds and she won those other 2 rounds in each of those fights. Marina Rodriguez has won 2 rounds against just about everybody she's fought, maybe even Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza's her one loss, and it was obviously due to wrestling. That's what got Carla to the win. But Marina wasn't outworked in that fight. Not even close. I've never seen her outworked, really. She's relentless on the feet. She's got so much pressure and volume where she's going to outpoint anybody, I'd say. But on the ground, too, she doesn't stop fighting. And her jiu-jitsu's tightened up a little bit, where she lost those big rounds to Cynthia Calvillo and Randa Marcos. She was able to pretty much stifle Carla Esparza on the ground. Not stifle her wrestling, but on the ground, even though Carla is more on the wrestling end of things as opposed to jiu-jitsu, that was a razor-thin fight against the current champion. Could have gone either way, and Marina didn't stop working even from her back. I thought it was a very good performance. But speaking of jiu-jitsu, Marina did fight, what's her name, Mackenzie Dern. And Marina, in typical Marina fashion, does drop 1 round on the ground, as she's done to everyone. Michelle Waterson, Amanda Hebos, Calvillo, Randa Marcos, Carla Esparza, whoever. But in the round to Mackenzie Dern, it wasn't good for her. She was dominated with jiu-jitsu, but she still survived, looked good doing it, and also took away a solid minute of the ground control with a beautiful Darce choke from her back. Like Mitch Clark, I think his name is, tapped out Ally Aquinta with at UFC 173. I've never seen too many of those chokes, but it was awesome seeing it on Mackenzie Dern, no less. Mackenzie is the alpha jiu-jitsu artist in the division and one of the very best in the UFC. She's a killer. I don't think anyone's going to submit her. But Marina Rodriguez put her in danger there. And I don't think the commentators gave that a lot of respect, but I was all over that. I thought that was a really cool moment for her. Again, not only did she score points on Mackenzie Dern, but she tied up a minute of her very valuable ground time, which in retrospect, it was the 1 round she had. Like I said, Marina typically gives up a round on the ground. For the 4th round to Michelle Waterson, the 2nd round to Mackenzie Dern, and whoever the hell else. But anyway, giving up a round seems to only benefit her, really, because her takedown defense is good. It seems to fail her once per fight, but then after that it holds up. And once her opponents are discouraged, where they realize they can't dominate her on the ground, they can't run or finish her anyway, it's discouraging. And Marina seems to only excel and grow stronger on the feet. Now, she's fighting Amanda Lemos, who is a killer. Amanda Lemos is somebody you don't want to make a lot of mistakes against. She is 12-2 overall with 10 finishes, 7 TKO KOs, and 3 submissions. That makes her a bona fide killer for a female strawweight. A bona fide killer. There are no male strawweights. But anyway, Lemos is a killer. I'd say the only one who's a bigger killer is the one that killed her, Jessica Andrade. But aside from Andrade, Lemos is the biggest, most violent threat in the division. She's got a distinct athletic advantage over most fighters she fights, and certainly in this one, she's the faster, stronger fighter. And I do think she's going to need to use that athleticism on the ground as well as on the feet to win this fight. She's going to definitely need some groundwork because, again, if there was, even though she can have success against Rodriguez with her power, which will be visible, and also her striking is very good as well, she can find success just technically, using her athleticism and also the right strikes up the middle, front kicks and teeps to keep Rodriguez at bay instead of letting her counter low kicks with Rodriguez's punches there. I think, she can find success on the feet, but she's going to need to use her athleticism on the ground. She's seen Marina Rodriguez drop plenty of rounds, everybody has, on the ground. That's where she's lost points. And Lemos is, I think, an underrated grappler. She's obviously big and strong and athletic, if I can make that point for the 10th fucking time. But to get that submission victory over Michelle Wooderson, that guillotine, that was something that could only be duplicated maybe by Andrade. Andrade has that type of submission over like Joanne Calderwood or Wood or whatever. But nobody else is going to submit Michelle Wooderson like that. And also to that point, nobody's going to submit Amanda Lemos like Jessica Andrade did. That is a finish that cannot be duplicated by anybody else in the division. You need the jiu-jitsu acumen and the strength of a tank. And Rodriguez is the opposite type of fighter. What she can try to duplicate is the Leslie Smith fight. But Leslie Smith beat her at bantamweight, Amanda Lemos. That was Amanda Lemos' debut. She was a younger fighter fighting a very seasoned Leslie Smith. And Leslie Smith is a Diaz sister. She is the Diaz sister. Trains with them and fights like them. And that was like watching Nick Diaz take out Kyoji Oishi, or whatever his name is. That was just, she was too big, too strong, and that was visibly the difference in that fight. Still, Marina Rodriguez doesn't have the strength and size of Leslie Smith, but she does have that style. The overall volume and pressure and striking, even though Leslie's more dirty on the inside, chop you up with an elbow. But still, Rodriguez in a 5-round fight, she should win this fight because we've seen her fight 5 rounds. She's been proven to be a great decision fighter. She is 9-1 in decisions. That's her decision record. That's fucking amazing. And even that one loss was razor thin to Carla Esparza. I guess I should say she's 9-1-2 in decisions. I may as well include the draws. They are decisions. But Amanda Lemos, her cardio, I think, is a little underrated. She had that war with Angela Hill, which I think, her cardio, even though I thought Hill kind of took over that fight, I thought her cardio still looked good in what I thought was a losing effort. I thought Hill won that fight, but still, it was a razor-thin fight. And I'm kind of glad it went to Lemos because Lemos has the higher ceiling, I'd say. And aside from that, Lemos has been 3 rounds against Mizuki Inoue. That was a dominant performance, but she still looked good, kicking ass for 3 rounds. And outside of that, it's been all finishes. She's got knockouts over Montserrat Ruiz and Lavinia Souza early in round 1. She looked really good, just incredibly dangerous, knocking out fighters with jabs and whatever. And her debut at strawweight was against Miranda Granger, and she ran through her with a rear naked choke. So a very dangerous fighter who can get it done early. But back to my point about her going 3 rounds, you go back before she made it to the UFC, and she was the Jungle Fight bantamweight champion, fighting Myra Quantuera or some shit. I don't know. I wrote down her name once, but I never said it out loud. Anyway, she showed to have good cardio at the Jungle, the regional championship level there. Those were that was a very good opponent to beat, who's still kicking ass. And Amanda Lemos actually fought her to a draw the first time. It was a draw, but still Lemos looked good in the end. And then got a third-round knockout with a counter knee in the rematch, which, speaks for itself. What better statement to make for your cardio? So Lemos may have underrated cardio. Again, that was her being bigger. She was visibly bigger, and that was at bantamweight. So she had some extra weight on her, no doubt. But now she's a well-oiled machine down at strawweight. And I do think her cardio will be there for her if she needs it. Look, my prediction for this fight is Marina Rodriguez wins a decision. I have to go that way because I've seen Marina Rodriguez fight too many times, and I've seen her fight 5 rounds plenty of times at this point at the UFC level, and I like what I see. Again, it's going to be tough to beat this girl. But Lemos, there's definitely some room for her to win this. Not only early on with her athleticism, especially if she imposes her, a grappling game, but even spread throughout 5 rounds, her athleticism and her overall striking working for her. She's getting on the feet. She's going to be the more powerful striker. She can throw down, as she's shown in the Angela Hill fight. And also her grappling, I think she's definitely got enough to take at least 1 round, has been proven, against Marina Rodriguez, if not multiple rounds. If Amanda Lemos doesn't put all of her eggs in one basket and really go for it in round 1, I think she can sustain a more long-term grappling game plan, hit 2 or 3 takedowns, and score valuable points in this 5-round fight. So I did bet on Amanda Lemos, even though my pick is Rodriguez wins a decision. I sprinkled something on the prop bets, submission round 1 for Lemos at 1,800, plus 1,800, and I played the late TKOs for Marina Rodriguez, 3, 4, and 5. And then I sprinkled something on a parlay for Amanda Lemos at plus 175, because I do think she's very much in this fight, and her toughness will be there. I don't think Marina Rodriguez can really follow either blueprint of Lemos' 2 losses. And again, Lemos may have underrated cardio here. I don't think she's got Rodriguez's cardio. I do favor Rodriguez overall. That's why my pick is Rodriguez wins a decision. But that's not worth it. At plus 125, I can't bet on that. So I only bet on the props and the long shots. All right, thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all that wonderful horse shit. And check out my other videos.